Is that the guy who takes the ring when they're meant to destroy them?
The guy, the son of the king that gets killed by me. So, and he doesn't throw the ring into the fire.
He doesn't throw the ring in, yeah. And Elrond, right? Is like,
yeah.
Toss it into the fire. Throw it into the fire. There we go. And they're taking the hobbits to Isengard, to Isengard, to Isengard. Nice.
God.
This is the most wholesome start to a game I've ever seen. This is great. Okay, cool. So, I mean, let's answer a few of those. So I wrote a bunch of answers to you there in Discord to do with some of them. Like, yep, getting the upgrades is right, ZVP, etc. So in terms of you said you were kind of just doing standard Zerg versus Zerg opening. It's turning into a Lingbane knife fight, and then you'll go for a +1 roach attack. Occasionally they'll make it to the stage where they get mutas up, and then you just build a few spores, try to get up hydras, and just try to win with a roach hydra push. And that's kind of the 3 different, I guess, things that often happen in your Zerg versus Zerg.
Yes.
Cool. You've been getting better at leaving Ling spotters, you'd mentioned, which is great. In terms of the Protoss question, just since I did read all this already, I think always play what you find fun. So I don't think be afraid to just hop on and just play a few games as Protoss, just as your off race, and just see how you enjoy it. And then if you want to explore it more and you play it for a week and then like, yeah, let's stick with this for a few weeks and try to improve, we could absolutely coach on Protoss as well. So just obviously we wouldn't do it until you've actually spent a bunch of time having fun playing with the race. So definitely something, who knows, maybe in a few weeks or a month we'll do a Protoss session together to see if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have some... you're gonna coach later, that's why I have delay.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing EPT.
No,
so
you
can't. Yeah, you can't watch on the stream. So yeah, no, won't be able to watch on the stream today, but that's okay.
Okay.
I mean, we're in the replay together, so it should be all fine. I'll just signal. You saw that, right?
Yep.
Just testing it's working. Okay, cool. So previously, because we did our first session ZVT, and then we did ZVP, I don't think we actually talked about Zerg vs. Zerg at all, did we?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
I kind of got some coaching by being the practice partner of that latte.
That's it. I'm like, I feel like we talked about Zerg vs. Zerg a bit. Yeah. Right. Latte-less. Yeah. He was practicing this Lingbane.
The day after, and he got way better.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. So okay, cool. So in terms of this, you're building a ton of Zerglings and not really pressuring with them. We're also not leaving safety banelings. And now we're trying to get up to roaches. So why aren't we attacking right now if we've got so many Zerglings?
I think I'm just scared because he just killed my third. This is my second third.
Right. But because he's forced you to build so many units, you always want to use them aggressively in Zerg vs. Zerg. So that's actually a rule that you should just kind of generally apply in the early stages is anytime they attack and force a lot of units, like you want to focus on the offense. And I guess we can kind of split it into 2 different ways of thinking about Zerg vs. Zerg. So there's 2 types. And before we go any further, let's just write these down quickly. So the defensive type means you always get a 3rd queen pretty quick. 2nd inject at natural equals a tumor. Do you know what I mean by that? 2nd inject equals a tumor. It means you skip the inject and use the same energy to put down the creep to spread to the 3rd.
Yeah.
It's a confusing. Some people find that makes perfect sense. For some reason, my brain does. Other people think that's the most nonsensical way of explaining that ever. So whatever, you can rewrite that to whatever makes sense to you. But yeah, always get a 3rd queen pretty quick. 2nd inject at the natural. So it's basically you're using. So the whole idea is we use queens as an anchor, right? Use queens on control group as the anchor up front to gain efficiency, gunning down incoming Lings and Banes. And use Banes dancing around them to stop them collapsing on you. And crushing the queens, or getting past. So, if you think about that, you don't really need Zerglings for defense at all. If you're playing the defensive style, it is just queens and banelings. You can have a couple Zerglings, but they're not important. It's all just about queens and banes, because these are the efficient units. And if you use those correctly, you don't need to have as much stuff as your opponent, right? So you can always have a drone advantage if you defend well.
Yeah.
You can get a drone advantage and defend fine. Now, obviously, you'll see a lot of players, especially on EU, they'll build 2 banelings or 1 baneling and a queen. And then they're just like, they see 50 lings coming and they're like, cool. And they make 2 more Zerglings and start making like 1 more baneling. And I'm like, okay, you're a fucking idiot. Like, this guy has committed so much to this attack. If you commit 1/3 of what he does, you're still going to be so infinitely ahead. And there's these players who are like, no, I'm going to try and defend with 1/20th of what he has. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why? Like, this is so stupid. Are you hoping he headbutts every Zergling into the baneling? It's like, you mathematically should not be able to win that equation unless he actually clumps up 20 Zerglings on each baneling. It's just stupid, right? Always, if you see the units coming, escalate that count. In terms of fundamentals, by the way, just a little point while it's here. OV coverage is lacking for you, and this is something we noticed in our other games. We're missing that overlord out front the third, right?
Yeah, and these 3 idiots here doing nothing.
Yeah. So if you're playing the aggressive style, on the other hand, as opposed to that defensive one, and with the defensive one, I guess we can say always have 2 safety banes on your main ramp. Because you're defending with just a few queens out front, so we can imagine in this game you got 2 queens out front between your natural and third. There's always a moment where lings might manage to sneak past, right? And having the banes on top of your main base ramp, so 10 lings run up the ramp into banelings, is always nice. And it's also there just in case you ever get surprised by something. Just having a baneling or 2, no control group on those banelings so that they're microed separately. Often not microed at all. That's a really good safety mark. So the other thing we want to focus on is the aggressive style. So if we're aggressive, I mean, it's the opposite. Pure injects, right? Pure injects, delay creep, no third queen. Because we're basically saying, I don't need these units. I am going to defend through aggression, okay? So the rule with the aggressive style is always be active on the map with your units. Now, you can always... He has plenty of queens, and say you ran up here and there's like 3 queens and a bunch of banes. You could pull back to the middle of the map, do a bit of macro, but then you'd come back in and keep poking. And you try to split some lings in the third, split some lings into the main. You keep looking for things, and you make sure you keep the fight kind of on his side of the map. The other rule with it is if they outnumber you, build more units and maintain map control and unit dominance at all points. Now, people would say, aren't you always going to end up behind if you're trying to make sure you have more units? Not really. Because if you're being aggressive, your opponent's going to mess up their macro a lot more than you. Because they're going to miss injects pulling their queens to the front. It's also going to give you a lot more space in Ling Bane Wars. So if you've got the whole map and your opponent suddenly pushes back out with Ling Bane, there's many opportunities for you to get awesome Baneling hits. On this map, high ground here, high ground here, high ground here. There's 3 ramps, each one, where you can, whenever you go back to kind of treading water, if you're playing an aggressive style, you can leave like a baneling on some of these, just waiting, right? You know, anywhere where they don't have vision. So if you in this game, what you should be aware of is the fact that your opponent doesn't have vision, right? So you should pay attention to this. So your opponent has really bad overlord coverage. So if you kind of keep track of that, you go, oh, this whole area around the middle of the map, blind dark spot, has no idea what's happening here. And on top of that, if we realized this overlord was up there, we'd be like, oh, if I want to do any surprise attack, I can always cue it out through my third, and he won't see it coming. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the best ways to beat people. If they're,
but on this map as well, I need like overlord coverage to realize they don't have overlords on these pillars or whatever. That's
true. Yeah. Yeah. That is true. Sometimes you'll see them early on, but yeah. That's actually funny.
And I don't even know about this one because it's also on a pillar.
That one actually is not positioned properly. You should be able to see that, but there's no reason for you to have moved all the way up there and actually spot it. Anyways, but yeah, it's kind of like cool to see these two very different styles, right? Always be active on the map, number you, build more units, maintain map control, unit dominance at all points. So basically, it's just, are we going to dictate the pace of the game, or are we going to play defensive? Now, I always think aggressive is generally better, because I think there's a lot of people who have no fucking clue how to play Zerg versus Zerg. I think there's a lot of people who suck at Ling Bane micro and are just not systematic with how they control group their Banes. I think there's a lot of people who will just build 50 drones and hope you don't attack them. And that's kind of what we call the standard greedy fucking Zerg player, right? This is why Protoss and Terran are always aggressive against us, because they don't want us to just build 70 drones. We always want to do something to make sure they stay in check. Now, the other style is more popular now, though, defensive, right? Like, that's much more popular, what you see pro gamers do all the time, very defensive, and because of that, it's quite popular on the ladder as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, which one of these is like, do you think... So these are the two standard ways of playing. Now, depending on either of those, we could open up. But in terms of like tech, because you said, you know, you're not really enjoying your style that much. Obviously, we can just get better at a base style, what you're doing. But we can also apply that same theory, choose either that defensive or aggressive stance early game. And we can also do something else. We can go mass upgraded Zergling. We can go 2 base muter, or we can go 3 base muter with upgraded Zerglings. We can play wall off into roaches. Not my favorite, but it's a style. I should give the option. I think it's kind of boring. But yeah, what do you think really is the point of Zerg versus Zerg that you enjoy the most? Like, what do you get the best kick out of?
Maybe the 3 base muter with Ling upgrade.
Yeah, just what, you just like the mobility of it, or?
Yeah. But I kind of like mixing it up a bit as well, like just going roaches and then like change up depending on what they do is kind of fun as well. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely can do that. Thing is, you need your roach style to be really good, right? To have that as a base, because if you're just waiting for your opponent to show what they want to do, there's a lot of
like
opponents
pressure while you wait, sort of.
Yeah, you got to have a really tight roach pressure opening then, right? That's essentially a let's do a roach pressure and have a follow-up or two mapped out. Swap into muters, or a second evo chamber and tunneling claws. You know, there's a few different options. It really just comes down to what floats your boat. So, I mean, I wouldn't be like, oh, let's just try to make roaches and react to what we see. Because to me, that just reeks of us not wanting to plan or refine anything. I don't know. Some people just love leaving things up to chance and to reacting on the fly. And a lot of people love that feeling. I don't know. I feel like we can always do better if we plan ahead of time. And we can definitely base what we do. We can have a few changes based on what we see, and that's really what any style should get to, right? Whatever we choose, there should always be, oh, if I see this, I need to actually like swap with a Spire because my Massling is not going to do it. So I need to get the Spire out quicker. Or, you know, if I see this thing, I'm actually going to go Lurkers. And if I get Lurkers up and do a push right before they get out X, you know, I can win the game. There's always ways we can do that. But I think it's important for us to actually like start making some decisions before we get there, rather than going, I just want to go roaches and then do some stuff. Because that just doesn't have any clear point to it, right? I mean, obviously we can then define it and say, okay, let's do a really sharp +1 roach attack off X drones. That's your standard. And we can kind of go from there. So Ling Bane, Ling War, Ling upgrades, drones, continue if damage is being dealt, otherwise go Spire.
Maybe.
So you want Ling Bane Chaos, right?
Yeah, I want to get better at it at least.
Yeah, I mean it's a good way to play, dude. I love Ling Bane. Embrace the chaos, embrace the action. We can do it as a much later Ling style, a muter style as well if you want. So how do you feel about learning my Mass Ling style, where it's like it is Ling Bane Wars into upgraded Zerglings, but it's a double upgrades. and it's super mineral focused. Like we will go 4 bases off just 1 or 2 gas geysers. And you do get mutas eventually if you have to, but there will be games where you just win with like 250 Zerglings with +2 melee, +1 armor or something like that, or sometimes 2/2.
I think that's what I saw you play with against Stefano on like a.
That was actually the 3-base muta style, I'm pretty sure, but it kind of went in that direction, I think. Oh, actually, no, I did do it. No, it was that style. It was definitely the double Evo style. Yeah. I went the mutas eventually, but yes, that was a very sloppy execution of exactly what I'm talking about. What do you think about that style? Do you want to try that one?
It's fun, but probably a bit hard, but looks fun.
I don't know if it's hard for you. I feel like when I watch you play, you seem to just, like, your specialty is backstabbing and trying to run lings around. So I'm like, I kind of feel like it meshes with what you do. And I mean, definitely there's like some different decision making with it. But I mean, the opening can go into it. So we can either do that, or we can just do the kind of, okay, let's do Lingbane aggression and then try to get into upgrades and mutas. Yeah, what do you prefer? So like the more standard single Evo chamber style, or the crazy +2 double Evo chamber?
Probably the crazy.
You sure?
Yeah.
Sorry, you cut out there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Mass Ling style. Let's do it. All right, cool. I mean, we can always take the same stuff early game. So obviously it's just going to be like, all right, pedal to the metal, rules of aggression. Aggression is the key, stage 1. So essentially we can start with the most standard one. Stage 1 ZvZ aggression. But the thing is, it's just when do we swap off the aggression is going to be something that you have to decide. So have you watched that video yet, or that guide on aggression is the key?
Maybe a long time ago, but I can't recall it precisely.
It's literally what Lateless was practicing versus you for the first time the other day. So it's just super standard opening, and then at like 33 supply, you just make non-stop Zerglings and Banelings, and you just go. So this was like, I use this as a building block where I'm like, cool, if someone wants to learn how to play Lingbane, they need to learn how to attack with Lingbane and kill people first of all, right? Even if they're going to go to being defensive, just so they get good at managing Banelings and Zerglings in chaotic situations. Because chaotic offense is actually easier than chaotic defense, right? Chaotic defense, you mess up, they're in your drone line. So it's better to start aggressive, learn how to kill people, also learn how people shut you down and defend it really well. So you kind of have more of an idea of, okay, I want to do that. That guy who had 2 queens up front and Banelings blocking me, like, I want to do that thing. So essentially, though, it is just rallying Lingbane nonstop. And the question is just kind of how do we go from there? So standard 3-hatch style. So if we look at your build order this game, we can use that as an example. It's a standard 3-hatch style, 33 supply. We make a big wave of lings. Now you could do 2 waves of lings, 3 waves of lings. You could do just 1 wave of Zerglings, like 20 Zerglings, more 4 or 5 Banes, try to get damage done. And then you could just be adding a second gas and droning and building an Evo behind that, right? So wherever we figure out, we'll choose when that happens. But for now, the transition would be obviously droning. We also need to remember 2 safety lings. So when you're being super aggressive, you don't always leave 2 banelings at home, right? But once you start droning, the first thing you do is build 2 Zerglings, rally them to your ramp, right? 2 safety Zerglings rallied to ramp, so that they can be made into those safety Banes by the time our Lingbane gets washed up on his side of the map.
Okay.
Droning, Evo chamber, second gas, lair. Now, I don't know exactly what order you want to do all that in, right?
Small question, by the way, is when you're doing like a Ling Bling war, do you just never pull out a gas?
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. You can temporarily pull off, but if we're planning to do a pressure, it's easiest to just leave it mining the whole time. Because you're going to be a little gas starved when you're transitioning. You're probably going to need a pretty quick second gas. You know what? Let's say droning, Evo chamber plus second gas go down together. And then you'll hopefully have enough for it. Yeah. You'll find that if you're in a really, really big Lingbane war, so we'll add like a little note here. So if you're in a big Lingbane war, you will need a quicker second gas, right? As soon as you start droning kind of thing. If you're just going like non-stop, baneling production is escalating on both sides. You're both just like spending all your gas on banes. Otherwise, you're like, cool, I got my Evo and my second gas down and I can't afford a lair or +1 melee. You're like, and it just takes a really long time to get that tech up, and it just kind of feels a bit awkward by the time melee and mutas hit. It's like, it's just late. That's not the end of the world, but just something we'll kind of naturally learn. But if we look at this, your baneling nest, super duper early. So, slight adjustment to your opening. 2 minutes 50 is usually when you need your baneling nest done. Unless you're up against
250.
Yeah,
I thought it was like 230.
No. That would, I mean, that's if you're up against a pool first. If they like went 17 gas, 17 pool, like so you know, if they do like a pool first, there's a chance they could hit a bit closer to like 315 or so, you know, 320, something like that. Whereas Ling speed doesn't kick in till 3 minutes 30 off a hatch gas pool, right? So if we look at this, your baneling nest is going to finish before your Ling speed's even finished. So it's like, oh, what's he going to do? Run across with slow Zerglings, morph banelings outside my base? Like, you've got so much time. So normally it's third hatch, a baneling nest right after the third hatch is the way you do that. Doesn't really matter though. Otherwise, it still works out to be a very similar build. Now, we did miss an inject on our natural here. You just injected your main. Forgot to inject the natural, which is a shame.
Sometimes I target the queen and nothing happens. It's like I click the hatchery, but it doesn't register or something.
So you go 17 hatch still? I think you went 16 hatch, right? What do you do?
Oh, I always go 16.
Yeah, well, they should be lined up then. I mean, maybe you're just doing it half a second too early, and like one queen has the energy, but then the other one doesn't quite have the energy.
Probably.
Let's take a little look-see and see if we can pick up on that. Like, if that ever happens, that's one of those things. If you go back and check the replay, it's so important to figure that out. Okay, it's about to happen.
But
inject.
There, I had 24. Or
No, you never even selected the queen in the natural. You also did something really awkward in the main there. Look at this. Look at what happens here one more time. So if you press escape, you can see what you've got selected down the bottom right. Now what's really weird here is we box everything and you've got the energy. No, you don't have the energy. That's why you pause here. Okay. So you've done a big fat box over to get your queen, all your drones in your selection, and you're sitting here going, why can't I inject? Yeah. So then you start building some drones. We select our spawning pool. So we clicked our spawning pool, which is odd. Then we're going to select a few more drones in the queen. We dragged another box. Now we select just the queen. And now we do the inject. And then we start building drones immediately.
I think I tried to inject both too early. And then I realized the first one didn't inject. So I did that again.
Yeah. You jumped to your natural. So that's the weird thing here, is you jumped to your natural. But that was just that's one of those things where you just came there too early and then you kind of stared at it. For me, I always find it's a little bit better. If I go there too early, I'll just go do other things. So I would go and I would be like, hey, let's fix my overlord positioning. They're not going there. Okay, send some overlords out. And I would just come back 5 seconds later.
But also, even when I have energy, sometimes when I inject like 4 hatcheries, one of them doesn't register. I think it might be like something blocking it.
I mean, unless you're selecting an infestor or a viper that's taken priority, like a spellcaster.
Nah.
You're basically, because you just go camera location and you box the queen, right? That's what you're doing?
Yeah. F1, box the queen, X.
Yeah, you must just be misclicking something. You really need to go back and check when that happens, like, and slow it down and figure it out. Because I can't do that, right, without looking at what you're doing with your hand, without looking at your keyboard, etc. Like, there's got to be something going on. Now, every now and then there's something weird with someone's keyboard where an input's being blocked for some reason. It's just that's so rare and so hard. It's impossible for me to diagnose, but definitely write that down. Pay attention the next time it happens. See if you can replicate it. Like, just sit in a game and just keep injecting and see if it happens. And if you can't replicate it in an empty custom game, you're like fat fingering or doing something wrong under the pressure of a live game, right? Because like you should be able to replicate it just by doing enough injects in an empty custom game or like creep or die or some shit like that. Was it? There's like an inject testing moderator mod or something like that. So yeah, there's a few different ways you can do it. But anyways, so you will need a quicker second gas sometimes. But yeah, that's kind of cool. So you've got this idea now of this transition. I mean, off the top of your head, I think it's really important for you to just start defining things. So, I mean, how aggro do you want to go with your Ling Bane? Are you just going to kind of keep pressuring and pressuring, and then when it feels like you can't get more done, start droning up? Or are you going to always just do like 1 or 2 waves and start droning behind that, completely predetermined? What's your goal?
I'm thinking like 2 waves, and if I see cracks, just keep going. But if it seems like it's not doing too much, just drone up immediately.
Okay, 2 waves of Lings, keep going if finding weakness, otherwise transition. All right, yeah, that's cool, man. All right, sweet ass. So this game, obviously you did this little roach pressure because he killed your
This guy
third.
missed his inject and he's like attacking that. And 200 damage with the queen.
Oh my. Yeah, this game got really sloppy. So this is a game where I look at it and I go, yeah, aggression is the key. Would have won you this game. Like so. Look at his defense. Queens aren't on a hotkey. Queens never come out front. No creep. Yet he's sitting defensive. So just if we go back to our fundamentals, remember I said defensive stance. You need the creep. You need the third queen. You got to micro those really nicely and stuff.
If you're defensive, should you also like funnel your entrance with like some buildings like that?
That's a nice bonus if you do that. Definitely makes things a little bit easier. You don't need to by any means. Especially don't be like waiting for your creep to spread and then building your Baneling Nest 15 seconds late because you're like, oh, I want it to be in my wall off. That's one of the problems. That actually Lardalis had that as a problem. The guy you were playing against, where he was like, oh, I really wanted it in my wall. And I was like, yeah, that's nice, but you know, not having a wall shouldn't get you killed. You have Banelings. Banelings and Queens are a wall. You know, they do more than a wall. Whereas not having Banelings will get you killed, right? You know, you can't defend a third base with a wall off on your natural, can you? So, you know, the wall off is obviously very important if you're playing no Banelings. You know, no wall, no Ling speed, that sort of stuff. But otherwise, it's just a little bit sloppy. In terms of your control grouping, you do seem to be pretty good at stealing those Banelings off, at least the second set. You didn't steal the first set of Banelings off, though. These ones back here, you didn't put on the control group.
I'm gonna do it in a second, but it's gonna be in the same control group.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, and they're all a bit clumped, and then they're going for the third base. Always go for the main and the natural. Never go for the third Banelings, right?
Those are going for...
Yeah. The thing is, if you sent 1 Baneling to the third just to be like, hey, run it at the pack of Zergs, that would have been great. But because you come from this angle, it's such a wasted opportunity. If you were running towards the natural and then you split 1 Baneling off and sent it down there, it zones out all of his Ling Bane. He can't do anything with his Ling Bane, right? And then you get into the main and the natural, which is the heart of the economy. And same with Ling Bane pressure, always go for the natural. If they've got enough defense there, you can pull back and go for the third. But the third is just this big, meaty hit point structure. And if you kill it, it doesn't win you the game by any means. It just limits production, which if you're both massing Ling Bane, it's not important.
Hello?
Hello? Testing.
Yeah, you've been gone for like 10 seconds there.
Okay. I don't know.
Froze up.
Discord?
After you said split off 1 Baneling,
yeah,
you cut out.
So the Baneling should always come from the natural side, so you can zone everything out and then get into the juicy center. Anytime you're Ling Bane pressuring, don't go for the third, go for the natural and the main. Go for the drones. The drones are the big value. Because you do 300-400 hit points of damage to drones, guess what? That's 8 to 10 workers. 300 to 400 hit points on a hatchery, it's still in the green, right? And the hatchery has an armor as well. So it's just one of those things. Always go for the drones. And just to put one little bit more context on that, and the reason why, you will play people who are incredibly greedy. And if you go for the third, you will give them just enough time to get up enough defense. They will defend. You'll go, yeah, I sniped the third. I'm winning. You're not. He has 16 drones on both mineral lines. You do not have a saturated natural if you're doing a really dedicated Ling Bane attack. So that's something that's very important, is going straight into the heart of the Zerg. It's the same reason why I tell Protoss players playing PvZ, don't build an Oracle unless you're really good at microing your oracles. Because you can catch a Zerg with no defense, the queen in the mineral line is going to defend the oracle. Maybe you kill 4 or 5 drones. If you have an Archon drop, guess what? If they don't have defense, you're going to kill 30 drones, the queens, everything. You're going to win the game, right? It's why I like a glaive depth pressure. It's why I like a charge lot pressure. It's why here in ZvZ, we don't ever want to just take the minimal amount of damage. We want to go in and check that our opponent is not being a greedy piece of shit. And that's very important in any versus Zerg matchup. And that's what a lot of our... I'm explaining it this way because I think you want to just remember that's what most of your Protoss and Terran opponents are thinking. Same thing when they're fighting against you is, I can't let this guy be a greedy shitbag or be an all-in shitbag. Going for the natural also identifies, wait a second, there's a Roach Foreign finished really early and there's Roaches popping out. Oh, what the fuck? This guy is actually all-inning me with like a crazy fast Roach attack. You know? So very, very useful to just think of it in that way. But yeah, I think that's most of the points here. We've got like some really good ideas there. We're going to play aggressive stance ZvZ. We're going to try to take the Ling Bane fight to them. In terms of Ling Bane Micro, I've got some homework videos for you. Rather than us talking about them now, I think it's a better use of your time, my time, is if we link those to you. So I don't know if you've seen my Ling Bane Micro videos.
Don't think so.
Okay, so that's some of your homework there is going to be linked up in the document. Homework, Ling Bane micro videos. What's really important about those videos, it's all just talking about the structure of setting up Ling Bane pressure in a way where your opponent's APM gets taxed and they just like fall further and further behind, and you keep hitting your injects and spending your money behind it, and you're very systematically and very organized with how you morph your banelings so that you're not constantly clumping your banelings up, you're not constantly getting your control groups messed up. It becomes this beautiful, efficient rhythm. And that's something that I'm very big on. If we can apply pressure in a kind of calm, methodical way, we don't actually need to do damage with the Ling Bane, and we'll actually get ahead because we're just so smooth at doing everything else at the same time. And when we get on top of doing that properly, it almost feels like our opponent just can't keep up. We're just so much better than them as a player. It's a very nice feeling. So awesome. We've got some good Ling Bane plans. We can grab a Zerg vs Zerg partner, or we can talk about ZVT and ZVP. You want to get into customs?
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Let's do it. All right. So, oh, Bulya is in chat. Let's see if Bulya wants to help us out. Want to play? So Bulya is a bit high level for you. It's like diamond, high diamond 1. If there's any other diamond 2 Zergs around, or diamond 1/masters 3 if needed, if you can. We on delay, but looking for a practice partner. Let me also just open up me Discord here. Holy shit, Rexo's in StarCraft. Want a Ling Bane skirmish, my boy? Let's see who's in chat. A laser is currently looking for Zerg vs Zerg customs. I'm not sure though if this is exactly what he had in mind. That's his status in Battle.net right now. I'm like, like, hey laser, want to come play Ling Bane Wars?
Get him in here.
Get in here, boy. All right, so we're just hitting up the chat. Sandy Claus is there. Diamond 3 Zerg. Chat channel Piggy on EU. Go. Is Big Uzi free right now? We've got people in chat saying, I headbutt with roaches off 25 drones at Diamond 3 every game, but I think Big Uzi plays Ling Bane. I'm trying to remember exactly how Big Uzi plays. Big Uzi. God damn it. Let's go. So if you guys can hop in chat channel Piggy and shout out once you're in there, and we'll get you guys in. Big Uzi can't play EU. Well, anyway, while we're waiting for someone, dude, do you want to just host up a game here against AI, like very easy economic focus AI, just to get the moves down? Anyone in diamond range is perfect, please. Come to channel Piggy on EU right now. Running 2-minute delay, so need someone ASAP. Big Uzi says 600 ping to EU. Holy shit. Really? Damn. But yeah, Atrovit, do you want to just start a game against no opponent just to get the opening down there? Practice the moves?
Zerg in chat.
Yep.
We ready?
Oh, we got Fenrak in? Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were reading chat there. I'm like, anyone who actually logs into the game will be so welcome. I'm just like, guys, please. I know there's a 2-minute delay. We got Fenrak. Okay. We got Fenrak, but if anyone a bit higher, please join if you're keen. At the least, we'll get you to OBS and maybe sub you in as well. This is, of course, on the EU server. All right, dude. So just remember to get the third hatch down, Baneling Nest after that at about 2 minutes 50. And yeah, just get that Ling Bane aggression going. Try to be nice and organized with it. Get at least 1 or 2 waves before droning up and then heading into melee upgrades and the lair. Good luck, dude.
Thank you.
Oh my god, my back. Oh, I was asleep pretty early last night, guys. I'm feeling very positive and good today. I was a little serious on yesterday's stream, but at the same time, I think I got through, especially my Protoss practice. The end of yesterday's stream was just Protoss, and I really slapped down a bunch of cannon rushes. I lost to, I think, 2 and slapped down about 5 or 6 very good cannon rushes from Ninja. But I think what I realized is that I play a lot worse the moment I get angry at my opponents. And I've been doing this, like, try to harness my rage thing. And there certainly are times where I can harness it. And I think I've just been fanning the flames a little bit too much by shit-talking my opponent. So after this session... we're going to be, of course, doing EPT, playing EPT, and all that sort of stuff. That's a very weird spawning pool placement. But I guess he just wants it away from the wall off, which is fine. So anyways, yeah, going to be just kind of trying to really respect my opponents and just continue to be really focused and kind of have the right mindset. Because honestly, peak StarCraft for me is having fun when I lose. And that's all I'm aiming for. Chat channel Piggy. There's the channel. So I'm really looking forward to practicing for about an hour and then playing EPT and then casting with Maynard and kind of continuing that good rhythm tomorrow. Don't have too much kind of extra things planned, which means I can focus on the heart of the stream, which means we can bring out some of those casts of those TSL highlighted series. It means I can focus on my ladder play, you know, explain my builds a bit more, but also learn a bit more. Try to expand my own play. So I'm really looking forward to this. So far, tight opening. Ling speed starts right on time. Gets double there. Overlord there. Now, one of his big problems is this Overlord just chills at home, and then these Overlords start going out in kind of random positions. This time, he's actually replacing the Overlord on the third. It's just, why didn't that Overlord go there earlier? Because, like, by the time that Overlord gets there, there's a hole in the vision. So this is just one of those weird kind of things. What's the MMR? So 3.7k, I believe. Well, 3.6 is Atrovir. But I want him to be challenged because he's attacking with Ling Bane. He could easily punch up 400-500 MMR here. Like, people are like, oh no, that doesn't just make you 500 MMR better. I'm like, I'm not saying it makes him 500 MMR better. saying most players in Zerg vs Zerg, if they simply just did a decisive Ling Bane attack and knew the basics of micro, would crush. But most Zerg vs Zerg that I watch is players sitting there kind of rocking back and forwards, holding their knees in the dark, you know? Very few people kind of grab the reins of Zerg vs Zerg and really roll with it. I'll turn the audio back on since I'm not talking to him. Practice game 1. So, second OV should go to third base. Takes you too long to get there. Yeah, he's doing some very good fancy micro. This is very Atrovir. Splitting lings off and shit. Oh, that was nasty. Did he just build Zerglings while running towards Ling Bane? Psychopath. Yeah, he's missed an inject here in the meantime as well. Should have hunted down his early lings or been threatening yourself. Should have made 2 safety banes. Now there's an option. Verse aggression. Pull both queens to front. Plus spread tumor. Leave 2 to 4 banes with them, morphing with them. 1 or 2 on ramp, 2 with them. Try to hold natural or even third if lucky. But natural is the key, okay? All your lings go to counterattack. Say, you might get my third, but I'll get all your drones. Yeah, so this is really good play by Fenrak. So Fenrak's just keeping the pressure on him, and it's like, still haven't pulled the queens to the front. You know, what are we doing? You're doing good. You got to get your queens to the front, and you need to backstab and counterattack with your lings. You can't sit here defensively. Just use a few banes and your queens to defend, and run your lings around the map. Around the edges of the map. Don't go through the middle, because that's where the banes are. Don't go through the middle.
Yeah.
Never go through the middle. He's got banes out there. It's fine. It's all good. It's your turn now. Non-stop Ling Bane aggression. Rally to him. Get your injects going. And just keep rallying Ling Bane. Take the fight to him. You could still win this game. Atrovir does have pretty good micro. What he doesn't have is good assessment of when to fight. Like just then, he was outnumbered by about maybe 30-40% in lings, and he kept fighting and microing against the banes, and it was like, even if that's an equal ling fight, if there's banes you got to dodge against, it's a bad fight for you. But if you're down in Zerglings and they have banelings, like, just get the fuck out of there. Morphing banes here makes no sense.
Newly birthed queen ready. Swarm forces under attack.
And remember to keep backstabbing with most of what you can, and just trying to defend with queens and banes where possible.
Forces under attack.
No. Third base is not an issue. Yeah. So the kind of newbie thing that a lot of people end up with is just attacking each other's third bases when they could be winning the game. I say newbie. I mean, there's Masters League players, GMs who do this mistake as well. Obviously, in some situations, you don't have the APM, so it's just safer, because there's more likely to be banelings on the natural. But yeah. Hey, he's actually clicked those banes in really nicely. That's really good. Really good. Let's hope he focus fires them, though. I don't think he will get to. Either way, though, it did some really good shit. That bane does get a bit of damage. As long as he keeps up his injects and just keeps launching aggression, it'll be great. So one of the best moves you can do in this scenario where it gets scrappy, grab 5 lings, shift-click there and there. Good chance they'll get past. Even that's a good trade for you. 4 Zerglings to 2 Banes. It's actually really nice. Here, run straight past into the main and natural. Why are we running away? What are we doing? Notice how Atrovir does this thing that a lot of Zerg players do. He sees Banelings and he just runs back and forwards in front of them. And whilst he does often, because his opponents fuck up their micro, pick off individual Banelings because they keep making mistakes, it's very unreliable. It's a huge APM sink for a potential tiny amount of damage, where you could have just run fast, split a few lings to kill some drones, a few lings to get drones, morph banelings there. There's higher impact things you can do with less APM, and I think that's kind of what I want to note down here. When game gets scrappy, what should we do? Split 2 to 6 lings into main base to focus drones / morph Banes in the corner. When we see morphing Banes, try to run past with some of our lings where possible. Yeah. If he just had a more constant stream of banelings, that's one of the biggest things. Yeah. More constant stream of Banes morphing would have been huge. Pigs, no control group technique. What is that? What's my no control group technique? Got him. Very well done.
Oof. 300 APM, what the fuck?
But spamming out those clicks was good. So, overall, pretty good. A little technique. So when the game gets really messy, I don't control group my rallying Zerglings. So basically, one of the things you were missing is you were not making a constant stream of banelings morph. He did that really well in the early stages. It was like awesome from him. Remember, he just kept having more Banes come in. There was a few minutes where you were pinned back and you were so close to like losing all the drones a few times and stuff, but you held on really well. So hats off to you for that. When you were counterattacking, there was a few moments where you'd kill so much stuff and I was like, cool. And then I'd look and there'd be just no Banes morphing. I'd be like, oh man, if there were more Banes coming in right now, it'd be like, you'd hit and kill all the drones, right? But there's a lot of times where you didn't have more Banes morphing. So something I like to do is not control group. You may have heard me talk about this in between our games when I was coaching Lateless, because I'm pretty sure you're hopping over, where basically I just set the rally point to outside their base, and every now and then I jump there. I actually use a camera location. I use my rally point camera location. What do I do? I morph Banes, and then I send in Maulings. And I kind of just bring them in that way so that I'm not... Because I'm often running into the back lines and going past the Banes into the main and the natural, I'm often microing Zerglings on my control group in mineral lines and stuff. And if I control group my eggs, I would, in the process of that, I would bring in the next wave of Zerglings without even realizing it and run them into a Baneling and get them all killed, right? Because I'm trying to micro in the middle.
A lot of times there.
Yeah, so this stops that, but it also means you can build a rhythmic habit of going to your rally point and morphing Banes. So not only, there's times where you're like, oh man, if those 20 lings actually came in straight away, they would have won me the game. But I actually think it's more consistent to just always have more Banes morphing. Always more Banes morphing, rallying to the mineral line, which you did a great job of doing that sometimes. So I think that's the biggest thing in that past game. The other thing I would point out is just that we let him pin us back early. You both were building lings around the same time. He was just a little bit faster than you, right? And that kind of sucks. You would rather be the aggressor. So I would say, remember next time that happens, just send most of your lings across the map. Take the fight to him. Go for his natural, go for his main with most of your lings, start doing Banes, and try to just defend your main and natural with a couple of Banelings and bringing your queens down to the front, plus your rally point. I think usually if you can embrace that chaos, unless of course he's already like at your base with even if he's at your base with everything, it's better to go intercept his rally point, go around the edge of the map with your lings and like backstab his worker line. How do you feel about that? Just defend with Banes and Queens and use your lings as the stuff to take the fight to him.
Could probably need the practice.
Yeah, I mean you'll panic and it feels weird, but just remember, like if he goes for your third, we're not going to defend our third base very efficiently with Ling Bane, right? You're doing some great Ling split offs and stuff, but he just kept making Banes, and we saw that it was kind of a losing battle. Eventually, he did lose momentum at some point, so it kind of worked out. But I think that would be awesome. So yeah, if he does the same thing and tries to pin you back, even if it's just 10 Zerglings that you split off to go attack his natural and shift click some drones, even that will totally pull his APM and his attention away. It'll give you a lot of breathing room. So let's just try to make sure we backstab a little bit more rather than letting him put us on the defensive.
Okay.
All right, I'll just see if he's ready. Great first map, by the way. He says, yep, good luck, have fun, guys. Awesome. Yeah, that was really good knife fight. We can tell he's been watching my coaching as well. He's one of the few players who's going to put the pressure on you really hard. So this is one of the hardest situations, but it's great we're getting the practice in this one. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh,
this is cool,
boy.
guys. Can you hear me? What did he say? I don't know what he said. Maybe he tabbed out or something.
Game paused.
Something's happened. Silent Noodle says, show me your Bane face. How you doing, dude?
Game resumed.
How are we doing, fam? Thanks for hanging, guys. I really appreciate it. Adrenaline doesn't help you play StarCraft? You don't enjoy rage and adrenaline? I mean, it's not really adrenaline with rage. I'd say they're different
My second
things.
overlord go to his third or my third.
Yep, second overlord to his third. Yep.
Okay.
You can't join the channel, says Svati. /join space piggy. So it's not in the groups. It's not a groups thing. A lot of people think chat channels are groups. They are not. You'll notice it's literally just a very old school. Just you open your chat at the bottom and you go /join piggy in the BattleNet menus. I don't know. I don't think that would work here. But yeah. No worries, guys. I really appreciate everyone for offering to help us out, and I'm glad we've got some people. I haven't played chess in a while. I've never been great at chess. I really liked chess when I was in primary school, because we got like chocolate and stuff. They would give us like food to bribe us into coming to the chess competition because we had to play after school against other schools. I accidentally 6-move checkmated a kid once, and they literally had banned 4-move checkmate so that the kids could learn. And I accidentally 6-move checkmated a kid, and I did it, and then I was like, oh, checkmate? I said it with a question mark, and they got so angry at me. They're like, you can't do that. And I'm like, it was an accident. I accidentally checkmated him. I'm like, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I would say I was a very good gold leaguer at chess as a child. Gold league? Gold league? I don't know. Maybe probably gold. I was a very good gold leaguer. At least for that age, I was like the masters of 5th grade kids who don't actually know how to play chess. You know, it was pretty great. I'm pretty bad at chess. It's one of these things where I look at chess and I go, oh, I see the attraction of this. I want to put a lot more time into learning this. And I'm like, ooh, I don't have the time or energy to study all these openings and stuff. And therefore I get frustrated. You know, there's other games I can play competitively if there's an element of mechanical satisfaction and feeling things out a bit more. Feeling things out in chess for me is just mega frustrating because I can see everything, but you can't really see it, you know? So chess is the ultimate well, your pattern recognition sucks balls, dude. All right, so they're both going to cancel each other's thirds. That's fine. Let's just see who shits the bed. One of them's not going to cancel. The fuck? Just some basic shit. This Overlord, by the way, is in such a bad spot. It should be there. And this Overlord should be up here. If they go down that way, they go down that way. But yeah. Wait, did he not cancel either? They both fucked this up? Oh my god, this is great. Even at GM, people do this all the time. Overlord.
Forces under attack. Enemy assaulting drones.
This is so funny. Yeah, I win games where people are just like, well, you're not going to commit to killing my base. It's it's my 4 scouting lings. It's not a commitment. You've literally seen them leaving my base a minute before they start attacking the hatchery. How do you lose your 3rd hatch to this? This is my own internal dialogue when I do the same thing. I like this. This is really good. Go into the main. Just remember, always dodge the queen and shift click the Zerglings. You get 6 slings in, you can kill like 8 drones like that. It's actually insane, guys. I mean, this game was just a shit show. He doesn't have enough drones for the banelings to target. They should have gone to the main. That's where the juicy hits were. So once again, a mistake by Fenrak. When the game's this scrappy, it's not don't go for the third. It's not don't. It's even don't go for the natural. It's literally go for something even where you gotta kill that baneling, buddy. Click it. Ah. Oh no. They were on his control group. He's so tilted now. I would be too, man. Welcome to the chaos zone. Full focus, injects, non-stop Ling Bane, get to his side of the map, and just keep trying to get him. You're both in full chaos right now. You're both falling apart. Stay clear, simple, and focused. Injects, Ling Bane, Ling Bane, Ling Bane. You've still got a good shot at this. Go for the natural. Good luck. Non-stop stream of Banelings. You notice how he was going for the third? He was sending all of his units there, and I was like, no, don't do that. These Banes are too close. This is only going to work because Fenrak knee-jerked into holding down the drone key a little bit too much there. Fenrak only has 1 queen. Wait, where'd that other queen go? I love this. She's just fucking walking off. She's like, I'm done. She's like, guys, I'm going to your side. I defect. They don't feed me well. Fenrak's... Kim Jong Fenrak, man. I'm defecting. That's how queens talk. Guys, let me join your army. Yeah, Fenrak's just not gathering the queens together. This queen, check it. Good baneling. Fenrak just needs neither side has had a safety baneling on top of their ramp at any point. So that's like a fundamental rule, you know? Fenrak's just in chaos. Yeah. Can still win just through being aggressive here. Fenrak has never had a chance to stabilize. So going for the third is not terrible here, but where is the stream of banelings? You know, that's the problem. Once again, headbutting with all of his Zerglings. Could have achieved the same thing and had 4 banelings finishing up now.
Swarm forces under attack.
More Banes. Keep going. Just keep morphing Banes as you go. Constant stream. Keep this pressure up. You're doing it. So, let's take a look. Are these banelings rallied in? No. So yeah, he's kind of fucking up with his control groups at this point. A little bit. Like these Banes, at the very least, when you morph them, should be clicked into the mineral lines. And notice he keeps clicking to the natural. Your Banes need to be heading towards the main base. That's where the drones are. They both missed multiple opportunities to like wipe out their opponent's mineral line by headbutting into the wrong base. Where's the next stream? Where's the next stream? Where's the next stream? So this is the point where often his attack washes up and there's no reinforce right at the moment where another wave would have come in and surrounded like 2 queens and killed a bunch of stuff. Gets a drone, not terrible. And rebuild your third hatch and keep this Bane stream going. Keep your injects going. And you're just going to keep going non-stop. You're both on equal work accounts. Just keep going.
Swarm forces under attack.
There we go. Those ones he stole, he rallied into the main, and he's gonna get a queen. Oh, he doesn't get it. But those 2 guys getting drones, which is awesome. And guess what? Yeah, now he finds his way in. That queen goes down, should be game. As long as the banelings go to the main. The Banes keep not all going towards the main. This one, I understand why he split those off, but I just think he could have done more there, that's all. He's doing good. Once again, where's the next layer? Where's the next level? So it's these lapses right at the moment where your opponent's like, I got a queen and a baneling. If another 15, 20 Zerglings come in, or a few more Banes, like, your opponent's just going to die. Like, he cannot keep up with it, right? Now, obviously, Atrovia has not found the time to put down the third hatch. He's finally doing it now, which is good. He's going to kill this queen. He says, I don't accept defectors. You're a traitor. You just betray me as well. Fenric's like, what? How did that... What? This is actually such good practice, though. This is really cool.
Forces under attack.
Remember to target the main mineral line. Once, you know, not natural. Natural has no drones in it.
Mineral cluster
For many situations. So main becomes juicier target. Yeah.
hive cluster under direct assault. Swarm
Practice game 2.
attack.
It's the same problem as game 1.
Hive cluster under direct assault.
It's the moments of downtime in your pressure where the opponent recovers and survives. Often it should be 2 to 3 inefficient, poor waves.
Enemy
Oh no.
swarm forces.
Fenrak doing a real good job here. I mean, we are so far ahead, but there's just nothing left at home. Oh no, Atravir, don't lose like this. That would be so embarrassing. Well, not embarrassing. Frustrating, I should say. There's no such thing as embarrassing. Oh man, he just lost all of his drones down there. Fenrak might actually recover. Oh no. So, where are the safety banes, you know? That's a big problem. He also lost that third he tried to build. So this game's just utter chaos right now. Now, because there's a spine and a queen and banes, the third base becomes a much more attractive target at this point. I wouldn't waste banes on that. Ah, finish those drones. It's like 20% of Fenrak's economy.
Forces under attack.
My man. That was great. You guys both killed each other's third bases with no cancel and not building lings early enough to respond. I see this happen in GM as well, but it's just like I was like, yep, this game is going to get really messy if that happens. So I think the same overall pretty good. I think you did a bit better job at backstabbing and going for the main. Those 2 banelings in the main were amazing. The 3 banes, sorry, in that you got them in there and you morphed them. Obviously, you accidentally left them on your control group, I believe, is what happened there. Those 2 banelings, because you accidentally tried to click them back to your base and then you tried to correct them back into the mineral line, but you clicked them into the queen. So was that because they were still on your control group? What happened with those banelings in the corner of the main?
I think the rally was wrong, so they went on the left side and the queen was blocking, so they couldn't pass. And I had to like make a rally around the queen.
It looked like you'd clicked them into the natural because they went like straight south and then they changed paths. Do you think you maybe shift clicked the rally point to the mineral line or something?
Probably.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm a big fan of not rallying them in these
You have
days.
to actually control them.
Yeah, I just wait for there to be like a lull in the pressure and then I click them in. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I just click them in and 50% of the time it works out or I notice in time and can go micro it and get the value. The other 50%, they blow up on a queen and just wound some drones and don't kill anything. And I'm like, God, that 8 drones when you're both sitting on 23 workers or even 5 or 6, it's a game changer, right? So I like to wait with it. So you accidentally sent in the corner banes. Wait with them. Just wait with them in corner until you have APM to micro them in. Okay? And then, I mean, if you're playing really good players, you can even wait until something else is happening to distract them. But even if you just micro them in, most people won't react in time. Not in that sort of game. Now, really simple reaction that both you and Fenrak need to learn. Very basic. Oh, he's going to my third with 4 lings. I'm going to his third with 4 lings. If you're not going to back off with your lings, you need to immediately build an extra 4 lings to go defend it, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying this like it's the dumbest, most basic thing in the world because I've made the same mistake and lost countless third hatcheries being like, nah, I think my queen will get there in time and these other lings. No, it doesn't. It never does. It's very basic, but we often forget it. So it's just one of those things where it's like, just make it a set play. So if you want to stay aggressive, just build an extra Fallings, or you could just pull your Fallings back and fight his Fallings and defend your third. Basically you've just got to choose one and say, this is my reaction to that. Because normally I stop at, say, 33 drones and then I build mass Zergling, I'm going to make it, or 33 supply, sorry. I'm going to make it 35 supply because I've already built 2 extra pairs of Zerglings early. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically just make sure you have that reaction set out in your mind.
But I think I made some links there, but I didn't pop in time or something. Maybe I made them too late though.
Yeah, I mean, you make those, the moment you see him running towards your third and you're clicking to his third, when you saw them with your Overlord, you immediately should have known at that point. So you should have been able to make them in time.
Probably 10 seconds late or something.
Yeah, probably even longer. A lot of the time we go, oh no, I got to build these drones. No, I got to build this Overlord, this Baneling Nest. And then we try to build them. And it's like, it's actually a lot. Like we're usually building those kind of as the Zerglings arrive at the third. And that's obviously like very late. Because Zerglings are a very high damage unit, man. Fallings. Hatchery doesn't have any armor yet when it's building. So it goes down real fast.
Also forgot the 36 Overlord.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Because you were distracted by that. Because you didn't have a set play. So because you didn't build the Lings on time, and then you lost the third, and then everything got thrown into the Chaos Zone, right? So that was the that was the moment where you didn't know what to do in that situation, and everything went into like, crazy Chaos Zone very quickly. Now, massive props to you for bringing it back from there. Both you and Fenrak did make the same mistake multiple times. It's a small one. It's a common one. The game was so scrappy and low economy that you both, at most times, had 4 to 6 drones at most on your naturals. And yet you both kept running all your Banelings into the natural mineral line and going, haha, and making the 2 or 3 drones run away. And there was multiple times where if you'd just been automatically rallying your Banes into the opponent's main mineral line, the ramps were wide open, you know? So that would have been huge, is realizing, hey, in this scrappy game, and I wrote some rules, that would be great. We've also, like the rule from the previous game, try to split Lings into the main to focus drones in these scrappy games. When we see morphing Banes, if they've just started morphing, run past them. Don't run back. And you did that a lot better in this game compared to the first game. And that's part of what led you to winning there, There was a few moments where you were losing and Fenrak went back to the base Zerg instinct. Build drones, try to get back to a normal situation. You had the power of me in your ear saying, you have one goal, one focus. Make Ling, make Bane. Make Ling, make Bane. Constant stream of Banes. Go, go, go. And because of that, it felt like Fenrak, there was a few points where he was about to get ahead of you, and then you'd get in there and things would start to fall apart for him. I think the final point I want to say here is that keep working on more constant Banelings. There were still many times where you'd do 1, 2, sometimes even 3 waves that were kind of inefficient attacks in of themselves. But if you had a follow-up wave, everything would have fallen apart for Fenrak. He would have lost the queens, lost drones, everything. And it was always at that moment where he's like 1 Baneling, an orange hit point queen, and 4 Zerglings. And he's like, I could tell. He's like staring wide-eyed at the screen going, fuck, barely hanging on. And then there'd be no reinforce from you. Because our injector, our production, or our next wave of Banelings would be a bit late. Or we'd run the Zerglings into the Banelings rather than morphing Banelings and kind of spreading out a bit. So I think there's a lot of things where you can look at these games and feel like you're losing the fight. Remember, it can be inefficient fight, and then you friggin' crush and everything falls apart for the defender. So just remember, it's okay to be inefficient. As long as we keep the pressure up, our opponent will crumble eventually.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. I think this is a very fun style. Obviously, we just focused on the Lingbane wars here. We didn't get to do a transition at all, and that's totally fine. I honestly think most people don't deserve to get a transition because most people's defense in Zerg vs. Zerg is appallingly bad. I think ZvZ is a much more satisfying matchup once we know how to kill greedy opponents and then start to learn how to defend the same sort of aggression ourselves, and then we can start pushing it deeper and deeper more consistently into the matchup. But for now, perfecting the defense in the scrappy situations would be good. Final point for you and Fenrak, the safety Baneling. Chaotic games, if either of you had a safety Baneling sitting on top of your ramp that you consistently replaced, it would have been a game changer. It's a real big piece of insurance that helps out a ton.
True.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Good sesh.
Bling bling, and we killed 400 units.
Oh, really? That's amazing. What a game. Dude, I love that practice. I think, honestly, the Lingbane, we are both just trying to fight each other. This is such good practice for just a different brand of intense StarCraft, and it really helps you kind of just get through a higher pace of StarCraft, and you're learning to add structure into the most chaotic situation in the game. This is going to make you a much better StarCraft player. So good luck with the practice, man. I look forward to hearing how you're going, and just hit me up whenever you want to do another one, man.
All right.
All right, catch you later, brother.
Yep. See you.